Hello everyone, this is Arvind. So I've been a practitioner of yoga at the practice room for a few years now. So let's talk about the experience that has been that we've been going through in the last few months, several months. In March of last year, when the COVID situation was was kind of boiling over, I had a personal health scare, right? I'll set aside what exactly happened then and so on. But the overall mood added to the sense of gloom that was quite pervasive, right? So yoga has been an important component of my daily routine, and it's helped me stay centered. It's helped me stay physically active and all of that. For the first few weeks in the month of March, right? For the first few in the month of March, we followed all those precautions to a T, right? We limited social interactions. We never got out of our apartment. We just limited it to our grocery interactions, which were all through the online big baskets of the world and so on, right? So the point when we started easing up was sometime around October, right? October last year, when we had a sense that we couldn't continue this whole overcautious approach for too long. And this was the time the children at home were sort of getting cranky, right? Everybody needs some sense of interactions and so on, right? So we started having them join their tennis lessons and allowing them to play and so on, right? And personally, I also started taking some liberties with going out, still with all the precautions, right? Then I also play tennis, so it's been something that I also started getting back to sometime in the month of November, right? And that's been also very good for me because it gave me a sense of things coming back to normal. And this was possible because, of course, in a sport like tennis, you don't what should I say? You don't interact. You don't rub shoulders with the opponents, and so it's you can still play out your precautions. What was the most stressful part of being at home during this long stretch? I think the hardest part was staying at home all the time, right? I mean, you're practically an earthworm here, and in this mode, you don't interact with people around you. You don't what should I say? You don't see faces other than your own family members. Of course, the occasional calls with people is not the same as having a normal conversation with people, other people that you would otherwise meet in your daily life. So that was the hardest part for me. The fact that I was completely at home and locked in. Right? Was the return to the yoga class your first foray back to group activities after a long break? As I said, no, it wasn't. I had already started coming back, but I wouldn't call playing a sport a group activity. It's still sort of restricted. It's not like I was in a dance class or something like that, so that would be a lot different. Right, but then I would say that this was my first foray. So yoga would be something where for the first time, I would come into an establishment where there were a few other people on a regular basis, right? So I was feeling very comfortable with this because of all the things that I've heard about the precautions that were put in place. Like the number of people in the class being lower, the protocols that were put in place. I mean, you folks talked about it. Yeah, you talked about it in one of the videos and so on. So I felt comfortable about getting there and getting and coming back to class. The main thing that motivated me was in an online setting as opposed to the offline setting. The, uh, uh, you really get very little feedback, right? You don't know what's going on in your asana that you're calling out, you're putting it out. You don't know whether you're doing things right or wrong, or you don't get that feedback at all, right? So that's something that is much nicer in a normal class, and that's something that I missed. To be honest, the offline class, to be honest, the online class was very hard for me to follow. After a while, I just gave up on it, and I would go with my own sequences in the morning, and I was much more consistent with that. Right? What else did I want to say? Yeah, so the other thing about being in a class is there's a sense of community, right? You have other practitioners, and you sort of it feels normal to be in a class, and then you also calibrate yourself with the way others are going about it, and you have this feedback coming in. And so I felt that the classes were much actually more practically useful for me. After the class, I could come back and then take some of those asanas back into my personal practice. I found myself finding it very hard to do that with the online class. So to that extent, it's been good for me. I've been on the online class for 3 classes so far. It's been 3 weeks. I'm happy with that. The only thing I miss, of course, is the usual camaraderie that happens with the post-class time when you get to sort of hang out with people. I don't do all of that because I'm still being very cautious. I just finish the class and then I'm back home. So that's in a nutshell of what's this been like. Thank you.